Hi everyone, welcome to my next video, which is You Asked, I'm Answering. And I'm really excited, especially today, because I forgot all about this trail, and there's also another one which goes to an island, and if it's low tide, it's not the same park with the other island. If it's low tide, I'm going to do another video after this one and check out that island. But I've never been down this trail before. I've got Maggie on the leash so she doesn't take off, and my notes in one hand, and let's go see where this goes while I answer your questions. I've got some great... Come here, Max. And I still wish I could let Maggie go, but one squirrel or a bird or even a deer, not only would she take off, but she would track it for hours, and her hunting instinct would take over. Now, I received 4 really great questions, and I'm going to keep this video under 20 minutes. And the first one was, did I ever feel a sense of freedom and closure when those who had hurt me passed away? And what difference did it make in my healing and self-discovery, self-expression, and peace in my life? And I just would like to emphasize, these are only my thoughts. You may feel completely different, but I have my own concept about life after death, and that is that we continue on, whether you call it our spirit, our soul, whatever. Those who have passed on are not gone from our lives at all, but in a different place. And I wrote about that in There Is a Something. So, no, I never felt a sense of freedom or closure when my parents passed away. And I felt sad. Not only that they passed away, but they passed away without ever having known me, truly known me. And it was closure in the sense that I knew that ultimately, because they were no longer physically here, I would never have any more opportunities to try to reconcile with them. And there's a really interesting kind of a mound over there. I'm not quite sure who lives in there. And I don't think I want to get any closer. But I felt a deep sadness. And loss. Because when someone is still in your life, the possibility always remains, especially if you really are hoping for a connection or to resolve past issues. You always have that hope. Sheppy, come on. And I'm sorry I yelled for Sheppy. I'll try not to do that. And I'm going to keep a close eye on him because we've never been down here before, but he does tend to stay on the trail. So I'm not that worried. And what difference did it make in my healing and self-discovery? It didn't make any difference at all, because I had reconciled my issues with everyone who had caused me harm. And especially my parents, who are no longer here now, that I wish them well, and I wish them peace, because I know they're not really gone. And the same will happen to me. And if I can send them goodness to wherever they are, then that's what I'm going to continue to do. And I think closure is one of those words that I never really gave much credit for or credit to. Because closure means when you close something, you put an end to something. Well, in a way, there is an ending when someone passes away, but not their memories or some residual emotional damage that you will always have the rest of your life, even though you can reconcile how to deal with it. Sheppy, come on! This is stunning. I don't know why I never came down here before. And that's the island we're going to try to walk out on. And I think we can. Yes, we can, because there's a little path. Oh, great. Sheppy, come on! I think Sheppy tried to go swimming. So no, I didn't feel any difference in my healing or self-discovery. And I miss them. I miss knowing that they were at least still here, even though we never reached that understanding that I always wanted to have. And because I don't believe they're truly gone, there is no need for closure, because we may meet again one day. Wherever they are, I might be too. So I don't think closure in that sense is ever possible. Now, self-expression and peace in my life were gifts that I gave to myself, and it had nothing to do with anyone who had caused me harm. And that is a gift that you can do for yourself when you actually, interestingly enough, self-expression, I was denied as a child. And upon finding it on my own, by myself, was a tremendous sense of freedom. Oh, this is just beautiful. Look at this. And I've lived here 5 years and I've never come down this trail. It's amazing. Maggie, you can't be loose. And here's another question. What are my thoughts on creativity? Now that's a very wide topic. But to me, creativity is a form of genius. And genius by meaning it's without limit. Because the more you create, the more creative you are. And if you are a creative person, which I believe all of us are in one sense or another, your creativity expands our mind to the most amazing places. And for example, when I write my books, I write them, now this is going to sound really strange, and I hope this isn't too windy here, but I kind of write them without thinking. And I think that's called being in the zone. And it's almost as though my subconscious is writing all the things I've always wanted to write. And I just write. And sometimes I read what I wrote later, and I can't figure out how I wrote it. And I'm really curious if any of you do that. Or anything creative that you do. And I think I'm going to stand here because I think it might be very, very windy up that way. So creativity is something that can provide us such joy. And if we stop doubting ourselves, which is what I used to do, it's incredible what our creativity can do for our life and for others. Now, this is a question that will probably take more than 10 minutes to answer, but I'm going to try. And that was, do I think the universe is God? Do I think our spirit or soul is indestructible and eternal and not created? And do I believe in what the Bible says, that there is no beginning and no end? Well, I don't follow any particular religion, so I'm not going to make comments about the Bible, but I'm going to start off by saying we don't know what we don't know. And what we don't know could be more amazing than we could ever fathom. Now, as far as the universe being God, I guess that depends on what you think God is. And most of us have been taught that God is the all-knowing entity. And my question is, why does there only have to be one? How do we know there's only one? We don't. How do we know there aren't billions of gods? Or that we all have our own God? Our own God that created us, that guides us, that helps us. We don't know. And I'm not casting judgment on religious beliefs. I'm only expressing my own, and that is that what we don't know exists. And I love that idea. I think we're going to turn around because it's a tad bit windy up here. Sheppy, come on. And as technology advances, we're finding out that there very well be multi-universes and multi-dimensions and parallel universes. Who's to say that we all exist simultaneously in fingers of universes that are parallel to this one, and that every possibility is being lived by our other selves at this very moment? And that's kind of a scary thought. But who's to say that's not possible? And why would a God do that? Well, I believe that what we are calling God is the ultimate energetic field that caused all of creation. And all of creation is even beyond our understanding, because we see ourselves on this meager planet, supposedly understanding how we got here, but I think the truth might be way more bizarre and involved than our imagination could ever take us. And yes, I think one day we will discover it, but certainly not in my lifetime. And I love these kinds of questions because I encourage all of you to share your own thoughts. And please know again that I don't follow any religion. I fully respect anyone else who does, but I do not accept things verbatim told by anyone. And I question the existence of things in the past, not as truth in the written word, because a human wrote the written word, or who we believe was almost human in the sense of being almost godlike. And if that's the case, then we're all godlike, because no one is better or less than anyone else. And if energetic fields are all of us, then all of us are not only a part of God, but our own gods. And I say that in a spiritual sense, because as mere physical mortals, we are very, very limited in not only our physical life, but our understanding. And that's why I don't readily accept anything, but I leave my mind open to all that we don't know. And I trust more my intuition and my feelings than I do any particular teaching. And I hope that makes sense to some of you. I think a lot of people find comfort in certain beliefs, and it makes them feel more guided and more at peace. And that's wonderful. However, I don't find comfort or peace in believing what's been told to me. I find comfort and peace in the knowing that there's so much more to know, and to question, and to ask, why is that being taught? Who knows that for sure? Who really experienced that? And can they prove it? Now here's something else they said in the comment, and they said the Bible teaches only one universe, which is God. Now, I don't really want to keep talking about the Bible, but it was in the question. And obviously, whoever wrote the Bible didn't have the technology that we have now, that there are multi-universes. We are a tiny, tiny planet floating in vast outer space with billions and billions and billions of other planets. And we don't even know if there's an end to it. And maybe there isn't. So, in today's world, we can see how limited that ability to understand that was back then. And who knows what we'll learn in the future. So, I, again, will go back to believing in everything that's possible, and that there is so much more that we don't know, and to certainly pay attention to what's being taught, but not take it verbatim. And I think that's a healthy way to look at it. Now, here's another one. Do I believe there's no beginning and no end in terms of time? And my meager brain will never have the capacity to understand that. So for us to assume that as fact, to me, is very misleading and very limiting. And by believing these things as fact, closes the door on all the other possibilities that may very well exist, and we're choosing not to consider. And I hope that helps. And I think that's one reason I'm so adamant about not following any particular teachings, because I want to know proof. And if there isn't any proof other than a book, then that isn't proof. So I say that in the most respectful way, in the most honorable way, for any of you who do consider that proof, because we're all different. We all have our own lives, our own viewpoints, our own weaknesses, and our own strengths. And one of my strengths is believing in not only possibilities, but in what we view as impossible. Because you really don't know for sure if a thing is impossible unless one day it happens. And that has happened to me many times throughout my life. So I really didn't want this to be a religious type of a video, and I certainly hope I did not offend anyone. I'm only sharing my own beliefs, and I have a tremendous sense of awe about the world and about our own tiny universe. And If you realize how many billions and billions of stars and planets there are besides our own, to believe there was such a thing as Noah's Ark, um, I'm sorry, I don't buy that. And if there was something, I think it would be more in line with DNA particles being embedded in a meteorite that perhaps crashed into Earth from somewhere else. And the wooden boat with 2x2, is an analogy so that people can understand it. Because logically, how could two of everything fit on a boat with all the food, all the supplies? And how would they not be tempted to mate with other species? So I question everything. I'm not finding fault with anything, I'm just questioning it. And I would love to hear your response and your thoughts and what you think about all of this. And again, let's not view religion as right or wrong, or this is accurate and that's not accurate, because we really don't know. All we have is our beliefs and our willingness to believe. This bird's beautiful. So I'm going to end this here, and we're going to walk over and see if we can go out to that island. Thanks so much, everyone. I hope you're having a really great day.